Namaste children, and welcome back to your next class of EVS 1 with Abha ma'am. You just had your periodic tests and I hope they all went well. You will soon be getting the result also. And now we start with the next chapter, and I'm sure the screen is giving you an idea about the next chapter we are going to start. You can see lots of rocks, rocks, pebbles, stones, gemstones here. So the next chapter we start is rocks and minerals. Yes, that's the next chapter we start. And without much ado, let's go to the chapter. You'll open your books to page 180. I repeat, page 180. So this is your chapter 2, rocks and minerals. You will be learning about types of rocks, what are minerals, and the uses of rocks and minerals, how they are useful to us in our daily lives. So let's get started. Look at the pictures given below and fill in the blanks with the given words. We are given 3 words: chalk, ruby and granite. These are the 3 words given to you. And you can write the answers in your notebook also, in your books side by side. Dash is used to make kitchen slabs. You all have slabs in the kitchen where mama does the cooking. So what is the material used there? Yes, it's granite. We use granite slabs in the kitchen. Dash is used to write on blackboards, which is a very common thing. Yes, it's chalk. And dash is used for making jewelry. Ruby is a red colored stone which is put in rings, earrings or anywhere stones which are put in your jewelry. They are red colored stones. It's called ruby. So rocks and minerals are of different shapes, sizes and colors. They are found everywhere on the earth. Let us learn more about them. Before we learn more about rocks, let's just discuss very quickly what are minerals. Like we say, the cells are the building block of our body, right? Or if I say a book is made up of pages. A cloth is made up of fibers. Yes, so everything is made up of something. They are the building blocks. So my rocks are made up of minerals. Minerals are the building blocks. They make up the rocks. They are chemicals occurring naturally in nature. They are different chemicals occurring naturally in nature. We are not creating them in the laboratory. Nature has made them, and they make up the rocks further. And different rocks are made up of different kinds of minerals. So coming to types of rocks, rocks can be divided into 3 groups based on how they are formed: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. We'll be doing 3 types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic. So we will first start with igneous rocks. We have learnt, we will be doing this chapter maybe later on. We have learned that the core of the earth is made of molten rock called magma. This we have learnt in class 4 also. The inside of the earth is made up of molten rock material called magma. When magma comes out to the surface of the earth through volcanic eruptions, it is called lava. So it's the same thing basically. Inside the earth we call it magma. Outside the earth it is called lava. A very simple example: at home you have a pet name, but when you come out to school you have a different name, right? You're called by a different name when you come to school, and you're called by a different name at home by your parents. You are the same person but having 2 different names. Similarly, the material is the same, but when it is inside the earth we call it magma. When it comes out to the surface of the earth we call it lava. The lava cools down and hardens to form igneous rocks. Some of the minerals present in igneous rocks are mica, feldspar, magnesium and quartz. So these are basically chemicals made up by nature, and they have different names. So it's just a new learning experience for you. These are new words which you are learning. They are new substances, new learning experience for you. So the different minerals are mica, feldspar, magnesium and quartz. These are the main minerals which make up your igneous rocks. Igneous rocks derive the name from the Latin word ignis, which means fiery, fire, ignite. We say, you ignite a fire, you light a fire, ignite. Ignis, igniting, fire, fiery. All these things mean the same thing. So it is hot molten rocks, so we call them, it is a hot molten magma which cools down to make the rocks, so we call them igneous rocks. And some examples of igneous rocks are granite, pumice, and obsidian are some examples of igneous rocks. So granite is formed due to the slow cooling of lava. Now the lava it's something like you have a glass of milk. It's boiling hot. You can't drink boiling hot milk. You want it to cool down. So there are two ways. You either just leave the glass standing on the table for half an hour, and after half an hour it is cool enough for you to drink or whatever. But you are in a hurry and you want to cool it quickly. Then you put it under running water, or you put it in a wide open plate or something like that. You will try to cool it faster. So even similarly, the lava or the magma can cool at different speeds. So slow cooling will make a rock called granite. Granite is formed due to the slow cooling of lava, and generally what will happen is when the lava comes out to the surface, it will obviously cool much more faster, है ना? But when it is inside the surface, magma, it is, the magma pushes into pockets under the surface of the crust. There, obviously, they will slowly cool down much more slower. There is no air to cool it off. So what happens is when the cooling is slow, granite is formed. The three main minerals found in granite are mica, feldspar, and quartz. The color of granite varies from grey to pink based on the amount of feldspar present. The feldspar gives colors to granite. Somebody has a black granite marble kitchen top. Some people have a pink one, some have a brown one, some have a green one. In our school, our desks, the top is again of granite. It is absolutely black in color. So the color changes or varies because of the amount of the mineral feldspar present in it. Granite is used to make buildings, interiors of kitchens, floorings, etc. Pumice is formed by the rapid cooling of lava. Basically what happens when the lava comes out, there are lots of gases also coming out with the lava, and what happens is the gases entrapped in the lava. There are bubbles of the gases inside the lava also, and the lava quickly cools down. Then what happens? The bubbles get trapped inside and they leave holes in the rock, the pumice rock. Again, an example of this would be your cake or idli or dhokla or whatever these things, or bread also. You see bread is made from atta dough, but there are lots of holes in the bread. Why? Because a substance was added which releases a lot of gas. Those gas bubbles get entrapped, and in the meantime your cake or bread is cooked. So what happens? You have holes inside your bread or your cake. That gives it a spongy feel, right? So same thing happens with the pumice rock. There's lots of bubbles of air in it, and the lava quickly cools down, generally when it comes in contact with cold water or something like that. So those bubbles get entrapped and therefore they leave holes. You can see holes over here. See, in this you can see holes in the pumice rock. So it has holes in it, lots of holes in it, spongy appearance. It is creamish or grey in color. The release of gases from the lava forms the pores in the pumice rock. Unlike other rocks, pumice is lightweight. It is the only rock which can float in water. It is used in making lightweight building materials, foot scrubs, etc. You must have seen Mama gets those square foot scrubs which you do it, but that is not pumice exactly. It is again made in a similar way, artificially from cement nowadays what we get. The true pumice nowadays we generally don't get as foot scrubs, but originally pumice was used as a foot scrub. Next is obsidian. It is also formed due to the rapid cooling of lava. It is a dark or black colored rock. It is smooth and glassy. See, it has glass-like look. Hence, it is also called volcanic glass. It has very sharp edges. It is used in making jewelry or even sometimes cutting tools. These are close-up views which will give you a better view of the different rocks we just now discussed. This is granite, and you can see large crystals. See, you can see large crystals, and now you can relate. You have pink or orange or brown colored granite as your kitchen tops. You have even black, you have even gray, you have white, and you can see crystals in them of different colors, right? That's granite. Because of slow cooling, the crystals are larger. This is pumice. Here you can very clearly see the holes or the pores in the stone, and here you can see it is the only rock that can float in water. This is a can full of water or a jar full of water, and the rock is floating on the surface of the water. This is obsidian, as I told you, that has sharp edges, glassy look, so generally used for making jewelry or cutting tools. ठीक? Next we have the sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are formed due to the deposition of small pieces of rock, soil and plant and animal matter over thousands of years by the action of wind, rainwater and flowing river water. Now we've all learned about erosion, right? What does erosion do? Erosion picks up pieces of the top layer of the earth and takes it away with them. That's what we've learned in wind. In erosion, so wind, rainwater, flowing river water, they are the major causes of soil erosion. They pick up the soil and they take it along with them. Ultimately, that soil will get deposited somewhere. Now, if I talk of flowing river water, it will carry even small pebbles, stones, sand, gravel, and all these things. So all these things, they flow with the water, but they ultimately go and settle down somewhere. Right? So rivers flowing down a mountain wear away the rocks, wear and tear here. It's not that पहनने वाला wear, it is the घिसने वाला wear. हम कहते हैं ना चीजें घिस जाती हैं, wear and tear. So this is the wear away the rocks. Wind and rain water also wear away the rocks. These small pieces of rocks are deposited at some other place. Layer over layer is deposited over a long period of time. This repeated deposition hardens the lower layers, leading to the formation of sedimentary rocks. So every year the river brings down a little bit of sediments and they settle down somewhere. Then the next year more of it comes, then the next year more of it comes, and there's one layer on top of the other, one on top of the other, and then it becomes heavy. When you want to make dry pressed flowers, what do? You put your flowers under 8-10 books. Why do you put so many books on top? Because every layer of the book or every layer of the book is putting weight or pressure on the lowest layer and compressing the flower and making it a dried flat flower, right? So similarly, when layers of sediments accumulate, they push down and they make the rock hard, and that is how you get your sedimentary rocks. Conglomerate, sandstone, shale and limestone are examples of sedimentary rocks. Conglomerate contains gravel, round pebbles and boulders held together by minerals. Basically what happens when your river water is coming down, it is bringing down gravel, pebbles and big stones, rocks along with it. When they settle down somewhere, obviously some mud, some minerals, everything gets accumulated together, and then you have pressure on the top. So what happens? They all harden together to make the rock, but everything gets trapped over there. So it has an uneven texture and it is used as a building material. I'll show you the examples, then it will become clear better how it looks. Next is limestone. It contains the mineral calcium and tiny animal shells. Mainly limestone is made by deposits under the sea. What happens? There are so many sea animals who have shells. All these animals keep falling down, plus river water bringing sediment. So all of these settle down at the bottom of the sea, and the water of the sea and the layers on top are putting pressure, so they ultimately get compressed to form rocks. And because the animal shells have lots of calcium, so even limestone has a lot of calcium. Its grains are soft and fine. It is used to make lime, cement, paint, etc. Lime is again जिसको आप चूना बोलते हो, right? You have white color का चूना मिलता है, which you use generally for, even sometimes olden times we used to use for whitewash. Nowadays you get distemper and paint, but lime is basically the chuna. So limestone is used to make lime, cement, paint, etc. Next is sandstone. It is formed by the deposition of sand particles held together by minerals like silica. Famous Indian monuments like the Red Fort and the Qutub Minar are made of sandstone. Shale contains solidified clay. So यहाँ पर sandstone में it is particles of sand cemented together, and we know sand is much more rough with bigger particles as compared to clay. Clay has very fine soft particles. So clay and mud pile up in layers. It is used to so they make the rock called shale. It is used to make construction material like bricks, tiles and cements. I'll give you an example. You all have eaten aam papad, right? Everyone has eaten aam papad. Aam papad you can open up in layers. Yes. Why? Because aam papad was made in layers. What do? They take mango pulp and they take a huge tray. They first put one layer of the mango pulp. When that dries, they put another layer of mango pulp on it, and then again it dries. Then they put a third layer. Then so like that they make it in layers in the tray, and then they ultimately take out the whole layers and they cut it into pieces and pack it and sell it. So since it was made in layers, it will open also in layers. So similarly, since the limestone, sandstone and shale are formed in layers, these rocks show layers and they break up also in layers. I'll show you the examples right now. See, this is conglomerate. Here you can see pebbles and rocks, they have got all bound together and formed a rock. Rough surface, and you can see over here the pebbles and other pieces of rocks and stones cemented together. So, and here also you can see these are pebbles and stones which are cemented together by minerals, sand and other things. So this is conglomerate. This is limestone. It is almost whitish in color. Why whitish and grayish in color? Because most seashells are also white in color and they settle down at the bottom of the sea and they make this kind of rock. This is sandstone. So you can see clear layers, right? One on top of the other. Clear layers are visible, and even if you visited these monuments, you can see wear and tear when you are walking on the floor. You can see the stones at the bottom have worn off, and you can see these layers like this. So this is sandstone. Your Taj Mahal, your Red Fort is made of red sandstone. You have pink sandstone. That is why Jaipur is called the pink city, because most of the monuments there are made of pink sandstone, but your Red Fort is made of red sandstone. That is why it is called Red Fort, right? So mainly they are pink, red and brown, yellowish in color. Some yellow are also there. So this is sandstone. This is shale. Shale, finer particles, and you can see how nicely you can see the layers in these two pictures, right? The layers peel off like that. So we peel off layers, cut it into square pieces, and they look like tiles, and they're used as a building material for making tiles, right? So I think that's all for today, and we'll be taking up the other rocks in the next class. But before we wind up, let me just make it clear that the igneous rocks are generally called the parent or mother of all rocks, because first the igneous rocks are formed. When the igneous rocks are worn off by wind, rain, water, then the sedimentary rocks are formed. Yes, so let's stop at this and we'll continue in the next class. That's all for today. Thank you and have a good day.